Well, it gives me great pleasure to bring on board Jim Rogers, someone we always look forward to understand his view on markets, world, and different asset classes. Jim, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Before we start our today's interaction, here's wishing you, your family, a wonderful 2021 ahead.
Nikunj, I am delighted to be here. I will tell you again, I am a fan of ET, and I hope we all have a good 2021. I hope we have a 2021. 2021 may not happen.
Okay, Jim, 2020 has been a year where everyone's got it wrong. First, the bulls got it wrong, then the bears got it wrong. If you participated and kept faith, you made money. If you waited for the correction, if you were on the sidelines, you are regretting the biggest comeback in financial markets ever. What is in store for 2021?
That is the best question. Who cares about 2020 now? We must care about 2021. I would suspect, Nikunj, that in 2021, things will go up for a while, maybe all year, but later things will not be good. Whether it's the end of 2021 or 2022, we should all be worried.
Looking at the way how growth is got challenged again, at least in the Western world, because of the second or the third wave of coronavirus, and the fact that central bankers are not worried about inflation, looks like money printing and more central bank policy intervention is here to stay.
Yes, you're exactly right. That's why things are going to be okay in the markets for a while. Nikunj, this is not good for people. This is not good for young people especially. This is going to be terrible down the road. But they don't care. The central banks don't care. They care about their jobs. The politicians care about their jobs. No, it is a terrible time to be young. It is a good time to be old because they're going to print a lot of money. But, you know, the next after this, we're all going to have to worry. Now, as I look around, as I've told you before, the only cheap asset class I see are commodities, but stocks can go up too.
Who is buying Bitcoin and why is somebody buying Bitcoin? If I look at Bitcoin, I have to rub my eyes with disbelief.
Well, Nikunj, I have never bought any cryptocurrency. I wish I had bought Bitcoin. Obviously, I wish I had. First, I should point out to you that many cryptocurrencies have disappeared and gone to zero. We all watch Bitcoin, but there are many others that have disappeared completely. I don't know who's buying Bitcoin. It looks to me like a bubble. I have seen many bubbles in my life. I know some smart people who own Bitcoin, who are very good traders who are making money. I have never bought or sold any cryptocurrency. So it's not, I'm not making money. I'm not losing money, but I'm not making money.
When the pandemic started, you shared with our viewers that, and I'm going to quote a comment of yours, I know it's a silly idea, but I'm long dollar. Are you still long dollar, sir?
Yes, so I'm still long dollars. Dollars are having a correction. It's normal. Everything has a correction. If it doesn't have a correction, you should be very, very worried. Things which do not have corrections, when they collapse, they really collapse. I still own dollars. I still own gold. I still own silver. I will be buying more gold, and in fact, I may buy more silver today.
Right. Jim, hi, morning. What is your view then on the dollar going forward? Because the basic premise for emerging market flows is that till the time the dollar continues to ease out, money will find its way into emerging markets and India will benefit out of that. Where do you think the dollar is headed?
Well, I own dollars, and the reason I own dollars is because I expect there to be problems later this year or next year. And when there are problems, people look for a safe haven. Now, the dollar's not a safe haven, but people think it is, and that's why I own dollars. People are not going to buy euros or pound sterling or other currencies because they're worried about them. That's why I own dollars. The dollar is not sound. America is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, but people think it is for historic reasons. That's why I own dollars.
What are these big problems, Jim, that worry you? You've talked about it often earlier in your answers to Nikunj as well, that the latter part of 2021 may not be as pretty.
Well, the American market is near all-time highs. You look around the world, many markets have been going straight up. Japan is at a 31-year high. Now, Japan is still down, but it hasn't been this high for 31 years. So you see many markets are going up. Governments are printing money, so debt is rising. Stock market valuations, you have bubbles developing. I mean, Apple and Amazon and Google and Tencent and Samsung, some companies, some stocks are turning into bubbles. Not everything yet. No, it's not a complete bubble yet, but I can see bubbles developing. If you go to Korea or America or London, Japan, everybody's jumping into the market. People who don't know anything about markets are jumping in and buying. I've seen this movie before when you go to the dentist and the receptionist wants to talk about stocks, you should be worried.
Happened to you?
Somebody wrote me yesterday and said that his taxi driver only wanted to talk about stocks. Now, as I say, I've seen this movie before. And when that starts happening, you should start getting worried. I mean, I've been around a long time and I've read about many markets. When you see college kids, young people leaving their jobs, everybody jumping into the stock market, whether they know what they're doing. I mean, this has happened many times in history. It's happening again. It's not a bubble yet, but I can see a bubble developing in some asset classes in some countries.
Sure. Jim, what's your outlook on commodities then, on metals, given given the factors that you've described? Everyone's been buying into the rally at the moment, but do you see that topping off as well?
Well, I own silver, I own gold, I've been buying agriculture. I've talked to you before about agriculture. Yes, I mean, I own all these things. I'm delighted they're going up. I'm not selling. I will probably be buying more silver. I'll buy more silver, more gold, more agriculture. So yes, I am playing.
I'm curious as to what you're making of the move on energy as well, that we're finally starting to see it climb back. Is that something that's caught your eye or that you're observing just to see how it evolves?
Extremely good question. You see, you should watch E.T. now because I am thinking about energy now. Energy has been a disaster, as you know. I own some commodity indexes, but I have not bought just energy yet. I am contemplating buying energy because it has been beaten down so much that it should have a rally, if nothing else.
Jim, are Chinese stock markets in trouble, given what's happened to Ant, the fact that the world is more and more worried about Chinese disclosures? Chinese companies are finding it difficult to raise money, even though they're tech-backed companies. Some Chinese apps are getting banned all over the world. What is the future for Chinese stocks? Because Chinese stocks have a very large weightage, at least in the MSCI indices.
I own Chinese shares. I bought more Chinese shares recently, and I will be buying more. I obviously don't know exactly what happened with Ant, but I do know that the credit situation with private companies in China was out of control. I'm glad to see, if that's what they're doing, I'm glad to see that somebody is trying to calm things down. You know, I would go into companies in China and you see 50 young people on the internet buying and selling loans. It was crazy, absolutely insane. I hope that that's what's happening, that Beijing has figured out we got to do something. That's what I think is happening, but maybe it's more than that. I don't know. Maybe Jack Ma has made a lot of enemies. But they certainly did need and do need to calm down the credit situation, the debt situation in China.
If there is a bit of a challenge in the way how Chinese economy is going to move, do you think that is the big albatross around the neck for everyone? Because we are talking about second largest economy in the world, and potentially if debt challenges and credit challenges are there, then it could have impact on demand, commodities, supply chains.
Well, the Chinese seem to have done, I haven't been there in a while, but seem to have done a less bad job than most countries with the virus, and their economy seems to have done better than most. I would suspect that's going to continue. They have spent some money and they have printed some money, not as bad as Japan or America or other places. No, I would expect the Chinese economy to continue to grow and be a better economy than most. There will be bankruptcies. There's too much debt in China now. I just talked about debt. But on the whole, China seems to be a better place. And as you know, the Chinese stock market is still down 30 or 40% from its all-time high. So China's probably better than America, say.
Jim, you have been specific about which agriculture commodities you've liked in the past. I remember a conversation which we had long time ago on the same forum, and you said that if you want to get rich, you have to do simple things. Pick up a silver spoon, start eating rice with it, and add sugar to it. Will that be a preferred meal for investment also for 2021?
Well, I do own agriculture. I have bought more agriculture. I mainly buy the index now because I'm lazy, and I know that index investing outperforms most investors most of the time. So I have been buying agricultural indexes more than anything. I bought the commodity index, but I bought more of the agricultural index than anything else.
Jim, what makes you bullish on agri-commodities given that the trends and the cycles are changing? Now we have moved to a world of mass agricultural production. We moved to a new phenomenon called agri-tech trek, where in summers you can grow strawberries and you can actually cultivate carrots in winter.
Well, people have been trying to solve the agricultural and food problems for hundreds of years. Maybe we have finally done it. I know India has recently changed its agricultural laws. I hope so. But I do know that throughout history, we've had periods when farmers in agriculture have done extremely well and periods when they've done badly. Agriculture has been bad for a long time now. The highest rate of suicide in the UK is in agriculture. Agriculture has been terrible. I would suspect that agriculture, it's been going up, certainly going up for a while, because even I'm making money now, and I would suspect that that's going to continue. We have these long cycles. We always have anyway. You say maybe we'll never have cycles again. Maybe. I doubt it.
Jim, just trying to suss out as to how worried you are about the longevity of this bull run. Would there be any point in time where you'd say, this is it, I'm going to book out completely out of equities and just buy commodities?
I hope that I'm smart enough to do that. I'm going to watch ET now and figure out when to get out of the stock market. As I said before, I see bubbles developing, not everywhere yet. Some stocks are not up at all. but I can see the bubble developing. I'm sure I will get out. My timing will not be good, but I hope I get out too soon instead of too late.
Jim, the markets may do whatever they may do, but businesses will strive and businesses will sustain. As a business, where is it that you see the next decade headed in for? Are there businesses or trends or themes that you think will survive whatever the markets may do?
Well, you know, as you know, the virus destroyed some industries, travel, tourism, transportation, agriculture. So those are areas where I see opportunities going forward. I know we're going to fly to New York again in the future. I know we're going to fly to London again in the future. So I am looking more at the areas that have been damaged: travel, tourism, entertainment, transportation, things like that, and agriculture, which I mentioned. So that's where I'm looking more than other areas right now.
Okay. So in terms of stocks, Jim, just take us through, how things stack up for you when you're looking at tech versus, of course, agriculture is top of your list and anything related to that. How does it stack up, and where do EMs really lie in the overall scheme of things? I mean, how would you actually break it up?
Well, technology is not for me. It's very, very expensive right now. I mean, Apple goes up every day. Samsung goes up every day. These are expensive stocks, and they're not for me. I know that there are people who are very good at buying bubbles and playing bubbles. Not me. I am no good at timing things like that. So I am looking for things that are down. I mean, I bought wine stocks in China recently. People stopped going out. People stopped going to the bars and the restaurants. So I had rather buy things that are down, where there are big changes taking place, than technology, which is very, very, very hot. There are stocks around the world that are still down in the last year or two.
All right. And, given that you're actually predicting that the worst is to come, what's the kind of time frame that you anticipate this? Would it be, you're already talking about the end of the year. Is it really going to be that soon, or do you see it play out more over a 2-3 year horizon, especially when you're talking about buying the beaten down names, hospitality, tourism? How are they going to survive when things go bust?
I explained you should watch ET Now to get the market timing. I am not any good at market timing, but as I look around the world at markets, I know that governments are going to print a lot of money. In America, there's going to be a new government soon. All the people in the new government love printing money. They all love borrowing and spending money, and they're going to do it. In Japan, the same thing. In England, the same thing. So I see that this is going to continue for a while. It's not good for the world. No, it's not good for my children, but it's going to happen. So I don't know when I will get out. I hope I'm smart enough to get out too soon before this all ends. As I have seen this movie before. I know how it ends. I know where we are. So.
Jim, you are a believer in cycles, you are a believer in multi-decade trends. You're a believer who feels that the biggest truism in the market is mean reversion. Whatever goes higher has to come lower, and whatever goes lower has to mean revert. That is Jim Rogers, perhaps in one para. So if Jim Rogers has to invest for his young daughter for 2000, for this decade, and if Jim Rogers has the option of only 3 investments, what will be those 3 investments?
Silver, agriculture, airlines. I mean, silver and agriculture are easy to say. Maybe oil. Maybe oil. Maybe oil. Oil is a disaster. And if it's for a decade, probably energy, yes.
Great answer. The reverse question, we always focus on what to do. What will you tell your daughter where she should not be investing also? Because if you don't lose money, you still stay rich.
Well, I am trying to teach my daughters, first of all, money is to be saved, money is not to be spent. And if you save it, then you learn to invest. So I want them to learn to invest, but I want them to invest only in things that they know a lot about. I don't want them to listen to their father. I don't want them to listen to their friends. I want them to invest only in things that they know a lot about with the money they save.
Jim Rogers, wonderful to have you. We started with what the outlook for 2021 is, and when we ended up with ideas on what should one do for this current decade. Have a wonderful year and have a great decade ahead.
I hope we all have a wonderful year. I hope we have a year. I hope we survive 2021. Bye-bye. I'm still a big fan of ET now.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rogers. That endorsement from Jim Rogers is really an endorsement of the kind of effort ET Now as a channel and the collective team is putting forward.